Chosen one, this is not a coincidence, and it is not by chance that you are hearing this message right now. January 25th stands before you like a sealed doorway in the spirit, and only a few are being led to hear what is about to be revealed. There are moments in life when heaven leans close, when time itself feels different, heavier, charged with destiny. This is one of those moments. What you are about to hear is not for the curious, not for the crowd, not for those who speak before listening. This message is for the chosen one who has walked through pressure, silence, confusion, and unseen battles, yet somehow remains standing. Archangel Michael speaks with urgency now, because what is coming into your life is powerful enough to change everything, and fragile enough to be lost if mishandled. January 25th is marked in the spiritual realm as a turning point. While the world moves on as usual, something sacred is being activated behind the scenes for you. A shift that does not announce itself with noise, but with alignment. A blessing that does not arrive with fireworks, but with quiet certainty. Archangel Michael's voice carries both promise and warning. He says you are about to become healthy and rich, not only in your body and finances, but in your peace, your clarity, and your future. Yet attached to this promise is a divine instruction that must not be ignored. If you tell anyone, if you expose what heaven is forming too early, you risk losing it all. This is not fear speaking. This is protection. There are blessings that grow best in silence. There are miracles that require darkness before they can fully take shape. You have already noticed this pattern in your life, even if you couldn't explain it. The more you spoke about your plans in the past, the more resistance appeared. The more you kept certain things to yourself, the smoother they unfolded. This is not imagination. This is spiritual law. Archangel Michael is reminding you that not every gift is meant to be shared at the seed stage. Some are meant to be guarded, prayed over quietly, and allowed to mature without interference. Understand this clearly. Your blessing is attracting attention in realms you cannot see. Not everyone who smiles at you wants your elevation. Not every listener celebrates your progress. Words carry energy, and when spoken too soon, they invite opinions, jealousy, doubt, and spiritual interference. This is why the warning is so strong. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom. Silence is obedience. Silence is how you keep what God is about to hand you. This message is urgent because the window is opening now. You may already feel it, an inner stirring, a sense that something is about to change, a calm before movement. You may feel more tired than usual, or unusually reflective, or strangely at peace without knowing why. These are signs of transition. Heaven does not rush, but it does move precisely. January 25th is not about public celebration. It is about private alignment. What begins then will not need explanation later. When the fruit appears, no one will question where it came from. Archangel Michael comes as a protector, not just a messenger. His role is to guard what is holy, to defend what is chosen, and to warn before harm can occur. His message is clear. Your health will be restored in ways that surprise even you. Strength will return. Balance will be corrected. Things that felt chronic will quietly loosen their grip. At the same time, provision will begin to flow, not through chaos, but through order. Not through desperation, but through favor. Yet all of this requires one thing from you now: restraint. You are being asked to trust the process without announcing it, to walk forward without seeking validation, to hold joy without broadcasting it. This is not punishment. This is preparation. The blessing coming into your life is not temporary, and that is exactly why it must be protected. Heaven is not testing your worth. It is testing your discretion. Can you carry abundance without exposing it too soon? Can you receive without rushing to explain? Can you stay quiet while everything inside you wants to celebrate? This is where many fail, and this is why many blessings fade. But you are different. You have been trained through waiting. You have learned through loss. You have been shaped by seasons where nothing made sense, yet you kept going. That is why this message is reaching you now. You are ready to hear it. You are ready to obey it. Listen carefully in the days surrounding January 25th. Watch what you say. Watch who you speak to. Not everyone deserves access to your becoming. This divine secret is not meant to isolate you. It is meant to preserve you. When the time comes to speak, heaven will make it obvious. Until then, your silence will be your shield, and obedience will be your protection. What you are stepping into is real. It is close, and it is safe, as long as you keep it sacred. Chosen one, the reason this message has reached you is not random, and it is not because you were searching for it. It is because something within you was already listening. Long before you clicked, long before you paused, long before you even realized it, heaven had already marked this moment. There is a difference between hearing a message and being summoned by it. And right now, you are not just hearing, you are being called. This is how divine alignment works. When the soul is ready, the signal appears. You may have questioned yourself many times. You may have wondered why your life never followed the simple path others seem to walk so easily. Why delays followed you. Why growth came with pressure. Why even good news sometimes felt heavy. But the truth is this: chosen lives are never ordinary. They are shaped in secrecy, tested in silence, and revealed only when the vessel is strong enough to carry what is coming. That is why this message did not reach everyone. It found you. Think back for a moment. There were times you were protected from things that should have broken you. Situations that could have destroyed your future somehow missed their mark. People who walked away, doors that closed, plans that collapsed. At the time, they felt like losses. But now you can see they were filters. Heaven was narrowing your path, removing distractions, and guarding you from exposure before your time. This is how chosen ones are preserved. Not by ease but by precision. Archangel Michael does not speak to the crowd. He speaks to those who can carry responsibility. And responsibility is not loud. Responsibility is disciplined. Responsibility knows when to move and when to remain still. If this message resonates deeply, if it feels personal, almost uncomfortably accurate, it is because you are not just an observer. You are the recipient. Your spirit recognizes the frequency. There are signs that confirm this calling. You feel deeply, yet you rarely feel understood. You sense things before they happen. You are drawn to solitude, not because you dislike people, but because silence restores you. You have a strong inner voice that warns you before mistakes, even if you don't always listen to it. And when you do listen, things tend to work out, even when logic says they shouldn't. These are not coincidences. These are markers. You were never meant to announce your journey step by step. Your life is not a public project. It is a sacred assignment. And this season, especially now around January 25th, is about learning discernment on a deeper level. Who deserves access to your thoughts? Who deserves access to your plans? Who deserves access to your joy? Not everyone who asks is qualified to know. Silence is not hiding. Silence is stewardship. If you are still here, still listening, That alone is a sign. Many would have dismissed this. Many would have scrolled past. But something held you. That something is alignment. And alignment requires participation. This is where your free will meets divine timing. Heaven does not force. It invites. This is also the moment where connection matters. When a message like this speaks to you, engaging with it is not about algorithms. It is about agreement. When you like this message, when you leave a comment, when you subscribe to this channel, you are not just supporting content. You are signaling readiness. You are saying, I receive this instruction. I am aligned with this path. Engagement is an act of awareness. Sharing this message is not about revealing your blessing. It is about allowing others who are chosen to find their signal too. Stay present with this. Stay grounded. The days ahead are not meant to be rushed through. Watch what stirs within you as January 25th approaches. Pay attention to your dreams, your intuition, the subtle redirections that feel small but persistent. These are not distractions. They are guidance. Archangel Michael's message is not dramatic for effect. It is precise for protection. You are being prepared to carry health without fear and wealth without guilt. That requires maturity. That requires restraint. That requires trust. And that is why this message came quietly instead of loudly. Heaven is not interested in impressing others through you. Heaven is interested in entrusting you. So take this moment seriously, but not anxiously. Calm is your confirmation. Peace is your indicator. If your spirit feels steady right now, even as your mind races with curiosity, that is alignment. The next steps will not be shouted. They will be sensed. Remain watchful. Remain selective. And most of all, remain silent where silence is required. Because what is finding you now was designed to stay with you for a lifetime. Chosen one. There is a law operating quietly beneath every major blessing, and few are taught to recognize it. It is the law of sacred silence. This is not the silence of fear, nor the silence of shame. This is the silence of wisdom, the silence of protection, the silence that surrounds something valuable while it is still forming. Before anything powerful is revealed, it is first concealed. Before anything strong is released, it is first restrained. And before anything lasting is given, it is first tested in stillness. Many people believe that celebration must come first, that announcement creates momentum. But in the spiritual realm, it is the opposite. Announcement too early invites resistance. Exposure too soon invites interference. Archangel Michael is warning you because what is approaching your life is not small enough to be casual with. Health and wealth are not just benefits, they are responsibilities. When heaven prepares to restore your body, your mind, and your provision, it also prepares a shield around the process. That shield is silence. Look back honestly at your own experiences. Think of the times you shared good news too early, when excitement overflowed before the foundation was fully set. What happened next? Delays, complications, unnecessary opinions, sudden obstacles that seemed to appear out of nowhere. This was not bad luck. This was exposure. Words opened doors that did not need to be opened. Energy was invited where peace was required. Archangel Michael is stepping in now to prevent that pattern from repeating. Silence is not about secrecy from those who love you. It is about discernment. Not everyone is equipped to hear what God is doing in you. Some will doubt it. Some will minimize it. Some will unconsciously compete with it. Even well-meaning people can disrupt what they do not understand. This is why sacred silence exists. It allows the blessing to mature without being handled by too many hands. January 25th marks the beginning of a quiet building phase. What shifts then may not be visible immediately, but it will be irreversible. Healing begins beneath the surface before it ever shows outwardly. Provision rearranges systems before it ever appears as income. Heaven works from root to fruit, and roots grow best underground. This is why Archangel Michael emphasizes restraint now. Speaking prematurely pulls roots into the light before they are strong enough to survive exposure. There is also a deeper reason for this silence. The unseen realm listens, not with ears but with awareness. Words are signals. When you declare something too soon, you announce timing that was meant to remain concealed. You reveal direction that was meant to remain guarded. Silence confuses opposition. Silence shortens the battle. Silence keeps momentum moving forward without friction. This does not mean you walk in fear or suspicion. It means you walk in trust. Trust that what is meant for you does not require explanation. Trust that what God is doing does not need approval. Trust that when the time comes to speak, the results will speak louder than words ever could. You are learning now that maturity is not proven by how much you share, but by how much you can carry quietly. This is part of your preparation. Health restored quietly lasts longer. Wealth grown quietly stays cleaner. Peace protected quietly remains unshaken. This is the season where your inner discipline determines your outer breakthrough. Archangel Michael's instruction is simple, but not easy. Guard your mouth. Guard your energy. Guard your joy. Let gratitude rise internally, not publicly. Let excitement be felt, not announced. Let faith be practiced, not displayed. This is not hiding your light. This is allowing it to be fully charged before it shines. And here is the truth many miss. Silence is temporary, but its reward is permanent. There will come a time when your life speaks for you, when your health is evident, when your provision is undeniable, when no explanation is needed because the evidence is visible. That time is not now. Now is the forming. Now is the sealing. Now is the quiet agreement between you and heaven. If this feels challenging, it is because it matters. If this feels serious, it is because it is sacred. Archangel Michael would not warn you unless there was something worth protecting. You are closer than you think. The instruction is not meant to restrict you. It is meant to secure you. So take this to heart, not with anxiety, but with reverence. Let silence become your companion, not your burden. And remember this as you move forward. What is being prepared for you does not need noise to arrive. It needs obedience. Type "I am sealed" in the comments if this resonates with you. Blessing code 314 is now activated. And hold this close, because what comes next will clarify why this silence is more powerful than you ever imagined. You'll be glad you stayed for what's about to be revealed. As this sacred silence settles over your spirit, hear this invitation clearly. I am speaking to you because God is using this message to reach souls who are still searching for truth in the dark. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing light into places you may never see, but heaven sees clearly. The word says God gives seed to the sower, and right now He's asking you to release seed so others can receive life. I feel led to tell you this. Your obedience in this moment is not a donation. It is a prophetic act. Do not delay what heaven is prompting now, because delayed obedience closes open windows. I declare that every giver in this moment is blessed with increase, protection, and clarity. Act now. Support this mission through the links in the description or the PayPal QR code on screen, and let your seed speak for generations. Chosen one, Now you must understand who is speaking and why his warning carries such weight. Archangel Michael does not appear without reason, and he does not speak without authority. When Michael steps forward, it is always connected to protection, warfare, and divine enforcement. He is not the angel of suggestion. He is the angel of command. And his message to you now is not symbolic. It is strategic. Archangel Michael is known in the spiritual realm as the defender of what God has set apart. He stands guard over destinies that are targeted, assignments that are contested, and people whose future carries weight. His presence signals that something valuable is under threat, not because it is weak, but because it is powerful. What is coming into your life has drawn attention, and Michael's role is to ensure that nothing interferes with its arrival. The warning you are receiving is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to position you. There is a difference. Fear scatters the mind, but instruction sharpens it. Michael is sharpening your awareness. He is making you conscious of how spiritual opposition operates, not always through attack, but often through access. Many blessings are not stolen by force. They are leaked through careless words, misplaced trust, and premature celebration. When you speak too soon, you unknowingly grant access to forces that were previously locked out. Doubt enters through conversations. Jealousy enters through oversharing. Confusion enters through unsolicited advice. Michael's warning is clear. Do not give access where none is required. Silence closes doors that words would open. You are unseen listeners in the spiritual realm. This does not mean you are surrounded by danger. It means you are surrounded by interest. Your growth, your healing, your elevation disrupt patterns that others depend on. When you rise, certain systems lose control. That is why discretion is protection. Michael is not telling you to hide forever. He is telling you to wait until heaven gives permission to reveal. You are in a phase where things are being arranged, not announced. Spiritual battles are being fought on your behalf that you are not meant to engage in directly. Michael stands between you and what would attempt to interfere. But even an archangel honors divine order. Your obedience activates protection. Your silence strengthens the guard. This is why some people lose what they prayed for. Not because God changed his mind, but because they changed their posture. They spoke when they were instructed to listen. They celebrated when they were instructed to wait. Michael is intervening early with you so that the same mistake is not repeated. Notice how often in your life protection came through delay. A plan that didn't work out saved you from something worse. A relationship that ended spared you from long-term damage. A door that closed redirected you towards something better. These were not accidents. These were interventions. Michael has been involved in your story longer than you realize. Right now, his role is intensified because your next season carries visibility. Health restored changes how you show up. Wealth increases your influence. Influence attracts attention. That is why the foundation must be secured quietly. Michael builds walls before exposure. He secures gates before expansion. He ensures that when the blessing arrives, it remains. You may feel a heightened sense of caution lately, a reluctance to speak freely, a desire to pull back and observe more. This is not withdrawal, this is alignment. Your spirit is responding to instruction even before your mind fully understands it. Trust that instinct. It is part of the protection being activated around you. Understand this as well. Not everyone who loses access to you will understand why. Some may feel confused by your quietness. Some may misinterpret your restraint. That is not your burden. Michael does not require explanation from you. He requires obedience. When the time is right, Clarity will come naturally, without effort. There is also comfort in this warning. It means you are not alone in guarding what is coming. Heaven is actively involved. You are not relying on your own strength to protect your future. Michael stands watch. Angels are assigned. Systems are being aligned. All that is asked of you is cooperation. This season is not about fighting. It is about holding your peace, holding your faith, holding your words. Michael fights so you can remain still. He defends so you can rest. He warns so you can avoid unnecessary battles. Let this truth settle deeply. If there were nothing valuable ahead, there would be no warning now. If there were no risk of loss, there would be no instruction to protect. The presence of this message is proof of the importance of what is coming. Remain calm. Remain observant. Remain obedient. Archangel Michael has spoken, and his warning is not a limitation. It is a safeguard. What is being prepared for you is worth guarding. And as long as you honor the instruction, nothing meant for you will be taken from you. Chosen one. When Archangel Michael declares that you are about to become healthy, he is not speaking lightly, and he is not speaking in fragments. This is not a surface-level promise or a temporary improvement meant to comfort you for a moment. This is a deep restoration that begins at the root of your being and moves outward with precision. What is coming is not simply the removal of pain, but the return of order. Heaven is restoring what was disrupted, misaligned, and slowly worn down through seasons of pressure you were never meant to carry alone. For a long time, your body has been responding to more than physical demands. It has been reacting to emotional weight, unspoken stress, spiritual battles, and prolonged endurance. You learned how to function while depleted. You learned how to keep moving even when rest was overdue. You learned how to normalize fatigue, tension, and imbalance, because stopping did not feel like an option. But what you adapted to was never meant to be permanent. Archangel Michael reveals now that survival mode is ending, and restoration is taking its place. Healing begins quietly because it begins intelligently. Heaven does not rush the body, it realigns it. You may notice subtle changes before dramatic ones. A calmer heartbeat, a deeper sense of rest after sleep, moments where your breath feels fuller without effort, days where your body responds with less resistance. These are not random improvements. They are signs of systems returning to balance. Do not dismiss small shifts. In the spiritual realm, small shifts are evidence of large movements beneath the surface. This restoration also involves the nervous system. Much of what you experienced was not weakness, but overload. Your body had been on alert for too long, holding tension it never had time to release. Silence plays a critical role here. When you protect your peace and limit unnecessary conversation, your body receives permission to stand down from constant defense. Stress hormones settle. Inflammation eases. Energy begins to redistribute where it is needed most. This is why Archangel Michael warned you to guard your words. Healing deepens in environments of safety, not noise. There is also emotional healing happening alongside the physical. Old disappointments, unresolved grief, and quiet fears have been stored in the body longer than you realized. Heaven is addressing these gently, without forcing you to relive them. You may notice that certain memories no longer trigger the same reaction. Situations that once drained you emotionally may feel distant or manageable. This is not avoidance. This is release. Your body is letting go of what it no longer needs to protect against. Generational patterns are being interrupted through you. Conditions that repeated in your family line. Cycles of burnout, chronic stress, emotional suppression. These are being addressed at the root. You are not just healing for yourself. You are closing doors that would have remained open for others. This is sacred work, and it requires patience. Heaven moves carefully when breaking long-standing patterns because permanence matters more than speed. As this healing unfolds, your discernment will sharpen. You may feel less tolerant of environments that drain you. Certain foods, habits, or routines may no longer feel supportive. This is not restriction. It is alignment. Your body is becoming more honest with you. Listen to it. It is responding to divine order being restored. What once felt normal may now feel heavy, and what once felt difficult may now feel natural. Archangel Michael's presence ensures protection during this process. You are being guarded from regression, from discouragement, and from the subtle voice that tries to convince you nothing is changing. Healing does not always feel dramatic, but it is consistent when protected. Even on days when progress feels slow, nothing is being undone. Momentum is still present. Trust the steadiness of this work. Here is also an invitation to release guilt. Guilt for resting. Guilt for choosing yourself. Guilt for slowing down. That guilt was learned, not given. Heaven does not restore health so you can return to depletion. Health is being restored so you can live with sustainability, clarity, and peace. Rest is no longer a reward you earn. It is a discipline you honor. As strength returns, clarity will follow. Mental fog lifts gradually. Emotional responses soften. Decision-making becomes less forced and more intuitive. This is part of healing. A healthy body supports a healthy mind. Archangel Michael oversees restoration holistically, not selectively. Nothing is overlooked. Do not compare this process to anyone else's. Your healing has a rhythm designed specifically for you. Comparison introduces impatience, and impatience disturbs peace. Silence protects the timeline. Silence allows healing to complete its full course without interruption. Joy will also return through health. Not loud joy, not dramatic joy, but steady joy. The kind that allows you to enjoy moments without bracing for exhaustion afterward. The kind that feels grounded rather than fragile. This joy is evidence of balance being restored. What is happening now is preparation. A body strengthened. A mind stabilized. A spirit settled. Health is not the final destination. It is the foundation. Heaven does not build future abundance on weakened ground. Honor this season. Rest without apology. Protect your peace intentionally. Speak less, listen more. Allow healing to unfold without pressure or performance. Archangel Michael has declared restoration, and what is declared from heaven completes its purpose. You are not imagining this shift. You are not hoping blindly. You are responding to a real movement already underway. And as you continue to guard what is sacred, your health will not only return, it will remain strong and secure for the season ahead. Chosen one, when Archangel Michael speaks of wealth coming into your life, he is not speaking of sudden chaos or reckless gain. He is speaking of provision that arrives with order, purpose, and stability. This is not the kind of wealth that overwhelms you or pulls you away from who you are. This is wealth that aligns with your calling, supports your peace, and strengthens your future. Heaven is not preparing you to chase money. It is positioning money to meet you where you are aligned. For a long time, financial pressure has been a silent companion in your life. Even in moments of provision, there was often uncertainty beneath the surface. Questions about sustainability, concerns about timing, a sense that you were always managing, always adjusting, always stretching. That constant mental calculation was exhausting, and it shaped how you viewed abundance. But that season was instructional, not permanent. It taught you discernment, restraint, and responsibility. Now those lessons are about to bear fruit. Wealth, as heaven defines it, is not excess without wisdom. It is supply without strain. It is the removal of anxiety around provision. It is the freedom to make decisions without fear constantly whispering consequences. Archangel Michael reveals that what is coming will not require you to become someone else. You will not need to compromise your values, your integrity, or your spirit to sustain it. In fact, this wealth will respond to your character, not override it. Just as with health, this financial shift begins quietly. Opportunities appear subtly. Conversations lead to unexpected doors. Resources align in ways that feel natural rather than forced. You may notice ideas returning that you once dismissed. Paths reopening that previously seemed closed. Systems rearranging themselves without dramatic effort. This is not coincidence. It is alignment. Heaven moves finances through order, not noise. Silence remains essential here. Money attracts attention quickly, and premature disclosure invites unnecessary pressure. Opinions multiply. Expectations form. Advice arrives uninvited. Archangel Michael's warning applies strongly in this area because financial blessing matures best when protected. What is shared too early becomes vulnerable. What is guarded grows stronger. There is also a cleansing happening in your relationship with money. Old beliefs rooted in scarcity are being challenged. The fear of loss. The guilt of having more than others. The belief that abundance must come with stress. These were learned patterns, not divine truths. Wealth is not meant to enslave you. It is meant to serve the purpose assigned to you. Heaven is correcting your perception so that when provision increases, peace increases with it. You may feel prompted to simplify certain areas of your life. To organize. You release clutter. To close unnecessary expenses or obligations. These impulses are not random. They are preparation. Order invites increase. Stewardship precedes expansion. Archangel Michael ensures that what is coming finds a structure strong enough to hold it. His wealth is also time. It does not arrive before you are ready to manage it without fear or pride. It does not arrive when it would distract you from healing or alignment. It arrives when it can enhance your life rather than control it. That is why patience is part of the process. Delay is not denial. It is refinement. As provision increases, your sense of responsibility will deepen, not burden you. You will feel clearer about where to invest your time, your energy, and your resources. Waste will feel uncomfortable. Purpose will feel magnetic. This is a sign of maturity. Heaven trusts you because you have been trained through limitation. Archangel Michael also guards against loss. Wealth that arrives under protection remains protected. You are being shielded from impulsive decisions, deceptive opportunities, and distractions that could drain what is meant to sustain you long term. This protection works best when you remain attentive and quiet. Discernment sharpens in silence. Do not measure what is coming by past disappointments. This season is different because you are different. You are no longer chasing survival. You are stepping into stewardship. That shift alone changes everything. Wealth responds to identity. When you see yourself as a responsible carrier rather than a desperate seeker, provision aligns accordingly. There will come a moment when financial stress no longer dominates your thoughts. When planning feels calm instead of tense. When generosity feels natural instead of risky. These are signs that abundance has found its proper place in your life. not as a ruler but as a tool. Remember this: heaven does not bless carelessly. What is being released to you has been weighed, timed, and secured. Archangel Michael stands watch not only over your protection, but over the integrity of what you receive. Remain grounded. Remain silent where instructed. Remain faithful in small decisions. Wealth is not rushing toward you because it does not need to. It is arriving at the exact moment it will stay. And when it does, you will recognize it not by noise but by peace. Chosen one, before any lasting reward is released, there is always a test, and this test rarely looks dramatic. It does not arrive with loud temptation or obvious danger. Instead, it comes quietly, disguised as excitement, relief, or the natural desire to share good news. This is the test before the reward. And right now, you are standing in it. Heaven is watching not to judge you, but to confirm readiness. The test is not about whether you deserve what is coming. That has already been settled. The test is about whether you can protect what you are about to receive. Many people lose blessings not because they were unworthy, but because they were unprepared. They spoke too soon. They trusted too quickly. They celebrated before the foundation was sealed. This is why Archangel Michael's warning carries such precision. He knows exactly where the vulnerability lies. The temptation you may feel now is subtle. You may want reassurance from others. You may want to explain why you feel different, why you are hopeful, why something inside you feels settled at last. You may feel the urge to talk through your plans, to verbalize your expectations, to release the pressure of holding something quietly. This urge is understandable, but this is where discernment matters more than comfort. Silence at this stage is proof of spiritual maturity. It shows that you trust the process without needing external validation. It shows that you can hold joy without broadcasting it. It shows that your confidence comes from alignment, not applause. Heaven looks for this posture because it signals readiness for responsibility. What is coming into your life will require you to manage attention, influence, and provision wisely. This test prepares you for that reality. Think of it this way: a seed exposed too early cannot survive. It requires darkness, moisture, and time before it can break the surface. If it were forced into the light prematurely, it would dry out and fail. Your blessing is in its underground phase. It is alive, active, and growing, but it is not meant to be displayed yet. The test is whether you will protect it until it is strong enough to stand on its own. God often tests discretion because discretion preserves destiny. Can you keep moving forward without explaining yourself? Can you allow results to speak instead of words? Can you resist the urge to prove what heaven is already building? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. There is also a deeper layer to this test. Silence refines your relationship with God. When you stop leaning on people for reassurance, you learn to lean fully on divine guidance. You become more attentive to inner instruction. You begin to recognize when peace is confirming a decision instead of people's opinions. This strengthens your discernment and sharpens your intuition. The test is shaping you internally even as the blessing forms externally. You may notice that certain conversations now feel draining. That sharing feels less satisfying than it once did. That you would rather observe than participate. This is not withdrawal, it is wisdom. Your spirit is prioritizing protection over expression. This is a sign that you are passing the test, even if it feels uncomfortable at times. Do not mistake silence for stagnation. While you appear still on the outside, movement is happening on the inside. Decisions are being clarified. Alignments are being adjusted. Timing is being perfected. The reward does not require you to rush. It requires you to remain steady. Heaven is also observing how you respond emotionally during this waiting period. Do you remain grateful without visible evidence? Do you maintain discipline without immediate reward? Do you guard your words even when excitement builds internally? These responses matter because they reveal your capacity to carry more without being destabilized. Understand this clearly. The test will not last forever. It lasts only as long as necessary to confirm readiness. And you are not being tested to fail. You are being tested to qualify. Every moment you choose restraint over reaction, you strengthen the foundation of what is coming. There will be a moment when speaking becomes appropriate. A moment when silence is no longer required because the blessing will be established, visible, and secure. That moment will feel natural, not forced. You will not need to ask whether it is time. You will know. Until then, obedience keeps the path clear. Archangel Michael stands watch during this test. He is not distant. He is attentive. His role is to ensure that what is released to you remains intact. Your role is simpler, though not always easier. Remain disciplined, remain humble, remain quiet. If you feel the weight of holding this season, remember why it matters. You are not holding silence for nothing. You are holding it for permanence. The reward ahead is not fragile, but the process requires care. You are closer than you think. Every day of obedience brings you nearer to the moment when restraint gives way to fulfillment. And when that moment arrives, you will understand why this test was necessary. Hold steady. The reward is already on its way. Chosen one. Now we come to what Archangel Michael calls the divine secret, the hidden wisdom that does not just invite blessing, but protects it forever. This is not a concept meant for everyone. It is reserved for those who are trusted with longevity, not just breakthrough. Many people experience moments of favor, but few sustain them. The difference is not luck. The difference is understanding how to guard what heaven releases. The divine secret is this: what is kept sacred remains powerful. What is exposed prematurely weakens. In the spiritual realm, secrecy is not about fear, it is about authority. Heaven conceals before it reveals. God hid Moses before he led. David was anointed long before he was crowned. Even seeds placed in the ground remain unseen before they feed nations. Your life is following the same divine order. Archangel Michael reveals that silence does more than delay exposure. It creates a seal. A seal in the spirit marks something as protected, authorized, and untouchable. When you refrain from speaking too soon, you are not withholding information. You are allowing a seal to be completed. This seal prevents loss, confusion, sabotage, and premature attack. It ensures that when your blessing is visible, it is already fortified. This is why some people receive quickly and lose quickly. They break the seal by oversharing. They invite voices that dilute clarity. They allow opinions to shape decisions that were meant to be guided by God alone. The divine secret keeps the channel clean. It preserves direction. It keeps your focus aligned with heaven instead of scattered by noise. Silence also trains discernment. When you are not constantly explaining yourself, you become more attentive to inner instruction. You hear more clearly. You sense more accurately. You learn the difference between impulse and guidance. This is crucial because what is coming into your life will require clear decisions. Wealth and health both demand wisdom to sustain them. The divine secret prepares you for that responsibility. There is power in being underestimated. When others do not know what God is doing in your life, they cannot interfere with it. They cannot compete with it. They cannot influence it. Archangel Michael knows this well. Many victories are won before battles ever begin, simply by limiting access. Silence removes unnecessary conflict. You may notice that the more you keep certain things to yourself, the stronger you feel internally. Confidence becomes quieter but deeper. Faith becomes steadier but less dramatic. This is not loss of passion. It is refinement. The divine secret shifts you from emotional reaction to spiritual authority. This secrecy is not meant to isolate you from love or connection. It is meant to refine your circle. Not everyone needs full access to your inner world. Some are meant to walk with you. Others are meant to watch from a distance. Knowing the difference is part of the wisdom being activated now. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this season of silence is not permanent. It is purposeful. When the seal is complete, exposure will not harm you. In fact, when the time comes, revelation will multiply what was protected. But revelation without sealing leads to loss. This is why timing matters. The divine secret also protects your peace. When fewer people know your plans, fewer people question them. When fewer people know your expectations, fewer people influence them. Peace grows in environments with limited access, and peace is essential for sustainability. Health thrives in peace. Wealth multiplies in peace. Joy remains in peace. You are learning that strength does not need witnesses. Faith does not need applause. Alignment does not need explanation. This understanding changes how you move through the world. You become less reactive, less defensive, less eager to prove anything. You know what is happening, and that is enough. Archangel Michael assures you that angels are working more freely around what is kept sacred. Silence creates spiritual clarity. It allows divine assistance to operate without interference. This is why the blessing coming to you will feel effortless compared to past struggles. Not because it required less preparation, but because it was protected properly. If you ever feel tempted to break this silence, pause and ask yourself one question. Does this person need to know, or do I need to speak? The answer will guide you. Discipline here is not deprivation. It is empowerment. Type "I keep IT sacred" in the comments if this truth resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 842 is now activated. And hold on, because what follows will show you exactly how this divine secret positions you for everything that comes next. You'll be glad you stayed for what's about to be revealed. As you receive this divine secret, I need to speak directly to your spirit. God is using this message to reach hearts that are still wounded, confused, and searching for direction. When you give through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into a river that carries healing far beyond this moment. I hear the Lord saying that those who release seed in silence will reap openly in due season. This is your moment to respond, not later. Obedience delayed is opportunity missed. I declare that every giver is sealed with favor, multiplied provision, and divine protection. Act now through the links in the description or the PayPal QR code on screen, and let your seed become a voice that speaks long after this video ends. Chosen one, now we move into the phase where understanding must become action. Everything you have received so far leads to this moment of alignment. Alignment is not about dramatic changes or sudden overhauls. It is about precision. It is about living intentionally in small, consistent ways that protect what heaven has already sealed. After January 25th, your life enters a window where details matter more than effort, and awareness matters more than speed. Alignment begins internally before it ever shows outwardly. You are being asked to slow your reactions and sharpen your discernment. Not every thought needs to be spoken. Not every feeling needs to be expressed. Not every opportunity needs to be accepted. After January 25th, discernment becomes your greatest asset. The more you listen inwardly, the less you will need external confirmation. One of the first signs of alignment is a shift in how you handle conversations. You may find yourself speaking less, but with more intention. You may feel less drawn to explain your decisions or justify your boundaries. This is growth. Alignment does not argue for itself. It simply moves forward. Guarding your words now protects the momentum building beneath the surface. Another area of alignment is your environment. Pay attention to what surrounds you daily. The voices you listen to, the information you consume, the emotional tone of your routines. These things shape your inner climate. If something consistently pulls you into anxiety, comparison, or distraction, it does not belong in this season. Alignment sometimes looks like subtraction. Removing noise creates space for clarity. You are also being guided to align your time. Scattered schedules weaken focus. Overcommitment drains energy. Heaven does not rush, and neither should you. Simplify where possible. Create rhythm where there was chaos. Structure is not restriction. It is support. When your time is aligned, your energy follows. Emotional alignment is equally important. Old triggers may surface briefly, not to trap you, but to show you how much you have changed. Situations that once provoked strong reactions may now feel distant or manageable. Do not force old responses out of habit. Choose calm. Choose observation. Emotional discipline protects spiritual authority. Alignment also affects how you view others. You are not meant to compete, compare, or measure your progress against anyone else. What God is doing in another person's life does not delay or diminish what He is doing in yours. Comparison disrupts alignment by pulling your focus outward. Peace restores alignment by bringing it back inward. This is also a season to be mindful of commitments. You may feel prompted to delay certain decisions, announcements, or investments. Trust that hesitation. It is not fear, it is wisdom. Alignment includes knowing when not to move. Waiting does not mean inactivity. It means preparation is still ongoing. Your alignment is strengthened through conscious engagement with truth. When you like this message, when you leave a comment, when you subscribe to this channel, you are not just supporting content. You are choosing to stay connected to instruction that sharpens discernment and reinforces alignment. When you share this message, you are not exposing your own blessing. You are helping other chosen ones recognize their moment of awareness. Alignment multiplies when truth circulates intentionally. After January 25th, watch for subtle confirmations. Small things falling into place. Unexpected ease in areas that once felt heavy. Calm replacing urgency. These are signs that alignment is active. Do not rush to analyze them or announce them. Let them build confidence quietly. Alignment grows stronger when it is not over-examined. You are also being aligned in your inner dialogue. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself. Harsh self-criticism weakens confidence. Constant doubt disrupts clarity. Replace these patterns with steadiness. You do not need to hype yourself. You need to trust the process. Alignment thrives in grounded faith, not emotional extremes. Remember, alignment does not demand perfection. It asks for consistency. Small, disciplined choices repeated daily create stability. Stability allows blessings to remain. Heaven works through order, not overwhelm. The calmer you become internally, the faster things align externally. You are not being asked to isolate yourself from the world. You are being asked to move through it wisely. Participate without oversharing. Engage without exposing. Be present without becoming vulnerable in places that are not safe for your becoming. This is not withdrawal. This is mastery. Stay alert but not anxious. Observant but not suspicious. Grounded but not rigid. Alignment is a living process, not a fixed state. It adjusts as you adjust. The more you cooperate with it, the more natural it becomes. And here is what you must remember as you move forward. Alignment protects what silence seals. Together, they ensure that what is coming does not just arrive, but stays. Hold this closely, because what comes next will reveal the unmistakable signs that everything you have been preparing for is already in motion. Pay attention, because the next revelation will confirm more than you expect, and you'll be glad you stayed to hear it. Chosen one, now you must learn how to recognize the signs that everything is already working, even if nothing dramatic has appeared on the surface yet. Many people miss their confirmation because they are looking for noise instead of noticing order. Heaven rarely announces progress with spectacle. Instead, it confirms alignment through subtle but undeniable shifts. These signs are not meant to excite you outwardly. They are meant to steady you inwardly. One of the first signs is an unexplainable calm. Situations that once caused anxiety may still exist, but they no longer control your emotions. You find yourself responding instead of reacting. Worry loses its grip more quickly. Even when uncertainty appears, it does not spiral the way it used to. This calm is not apathy. It is trust forming at a deeper level. When heaven is arranging things on your behalf, panic is replaced with peace. Another sign is clarity without force. Decisions that once felt confusing now feel simple, even if they are not easy. You may not have every answer, but you know what direction not to take. Confusion begins to fall away, not because everything is revealed, but because distraction has been removed. Clarity is a sign that alignment is active. It means your inner compass is recalibrated. You may also notice that old problems lose momentum. Issues that used to repeat themselves suddenly stop escalating. Conflicts resolve quietly or fade without confrontation. Delays untangle on their own. This does not mean life becomes perfect. It means resistance is decreasing. When opposition loses leverage, progress accelerates naturally. Another powerful sign is a shift in how others respond to you. Without changing your behavior, you may notice increased respect, cooperation, or neutrality where there was once friction. People may stop questioning you as much. Some may pull back without explanation. This is not rejection. It is repositioning. As you align, certain dynamics naturally adjust. You may also feel less urgency to explain yourself. The need to be understood weakens. The desire to defend your choices fades. This is a major indicator that your confidence is becoming internal rather than external. When you no longer need validation, you are operating from alignment. Heaven confirms this by removing the pressure to perform. Another sign is unexpected protection. Things that could have gone wrong somehow don't. You avoid problems without knowing how. Opportunities appear at the right moment, not early, not late. Timing begins to work in your favor. This is not luck. This is orchestration. When alignment is active, protection becomes quiet but consistent. Pay attention also to your energy levels. Even if your schedule remains full, you may feel less drained. Recovery becomes faster. Rest becomes more effective. Your body responds differently to pressure. This is connected to the healing already in motion. When internal resistance decreases, energy flows more freely. You may also notice a growing discomfort with things that no longer match your direction. Certain conversations feel shallow. Certain habits feel heavy. Certain environments feel restrictive. This discomfort is not dissatisfaction. It is discernment sharpening. Alignment makes misalignment more obvious, not to frustrate you, but to guide you. Another sign is patience replacing impatience. You stop trying to rush outcomes. You trust timing more easily. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels purposeful. This shift indicates maturity. It shows that you are no longer driven by fear of missing out, but anchored in trust. There may also be moments of sudden gratitude, not tied to specific events but arising spontaneously. A quiet appreciation for where you are, even if everything is not finished yet. Gratitude is a powerful confirmation because it appears when the soul senses stability forming beneath uncertainty. You not ignore these signs because they seem small. Heaven often confirms big movements through subtle evidence. Loud signs attract attention. Quiet signs build confidence. The purpose is not to excite others, but to assure you. It is important not to announce these signs, not because they are fragile, but because they are formative. Speaking too soon shifts focus outward. Let these confirmations strengthen you privately. Let them deepen trust rather than invite commentary. You may be tempted to look for one final dramatic sign. Resist that urge. The desire for spectacle often comes from insecurity, not faith. What is being built in your life does not require proof to be valid. It requires patience to be permanent. Understand this clearly. When heaven is fully involved, progress often feels natural rather than extraordinary. Things simply begin to work. Resistance lessens. Paths clear. That is the sign. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You are not imagining this shift. These confirmations are evidence that preparation is complete and manifestation is unfolding in the correct order. Stay observant. Stay grounded. Stay silent where instructed. The more calmly you move through this phase, the stronger the foundation becomes. Because what is ahead does not need to arrive loudly to be real. It is already moving toward you, quietly, deliberately, and right on time. Chosen one, now you must understand what truly unfolds when you choose obedience in this season. Obedience is not passive waiting, and it is not blind submission. It is an active alignment with divine order, a conscious decision to trust instruction even when explanation is incomplete. When you obey the guidance to remain silent, to stay disciplined, and to move with discernment, something powerful is activated beyond what the natural eye can see. Obedience becomes the key that locks your blessing into permanence. When you obey, confusion begins to lose its grip on you. Your thoughts become more orderly. You stop replaying conversations, second-guessing decisions, or wondering whether you made the wrong move. This clarity does not come because every answer is revealed, but because unnecessary noise is removed. Obedience simplifies your inner world, and simplicity creates strength. You begin to feel anchored rather than scattered. One of the greatest outcomes of obedience is unseen protection. There are situations that could have caused loss, delay, or regret that never reach you simply because you followed instruction. Conversations that could have opened doors to misunderstanding never take place. Opportunities that looked attractive but carried hidden risk are delayed or quietly removed from your path. You may never know what you were spared from, and that is part of the blessing. True protection rarely announces itself. Obedience keeps danger distant before it ever forms. Obedience also reduces resistance. This does not mean challenges disappear entirely, but their power over you weakens. You are no longer predictable in the ways you once were. You do not react emotionally. You do not speak impulsively. You do not expose what should remain guarded. Silence disrupts interference. Alignment shortens battles. What once required struggle now requires patience. This shift is subtle, but it is profound. As you obey, trust between you and God deepens, not because God needed proof, but because you needed confidence. Each time you follow instruction without immediate evidence, your faith matures. You begin to understand that peace is a better guide than excitement. You learn that restraint often produces more fruit than constant action. This trust becomes a foundation strong enough to support greater responsibility. Another result of obedience is internal authority. You begin to carry yourself differently. You speak less, but your words hold more weight. You listen more carefully, but you are not easily influenced. You no longer feel compelled to explain yourself or justify your boundaries. This authority is not arrogance, it is stability. People sense it without you trying to project it. Obedience strengthens your presence. When you obey, provision stabilizes in every area of life. Financial decisions become calmer. Emotional needs feel less urgent. Mental pressure eases. You stop operating from scarcity and stop making decisions out of fear. Obedience realigns you with sufficiency. You learn when to act and when to wait. You recognize when enough is enough, and when more would only create imbalance. This discernment protects abundance when it arrives. Obedience also reshapes relationships. Some connections naturally deepen because they are aligned with where you are going. Others begin to fade without conflict or explanation. You are not required to force separation or cling to familiarity. Alignment handles this quietly. As a result, your relational environment becomes healthier, more respectful, and more supportive of your growth. Another powerful effect of obedience is patience. Waiting no longer feels like punishment or delay. It feels intentional. You stop counting days and start trusting timing. Patience becomes confidence rather than resignation. When patience replaces urgency, peace becomes sustainable. This patience ensures that when blessings arrive, they are received with wisdom instead of anxiety. Obedience positions you for longevity. Many people experience breakthroughs but cannot sustain them because they were never trained in discipline during quiet seasons. You are learning discipline now. You are being prepared not just to receive but to maintain. This training ensures that what comes into your life will not overwhelm you or disappear as quickly as it arrived. You may notice that fear gradually loses its voice. The thoughts that once imagined worst-case scenarios become easier to dismiss. Anxiety no longer feels authoritative. Calm becomes familiar. This is not denial, it is security forming. Obedience builds inner safety, and inner safety allows external blessing to remain stable. Understand this clearly. Obedience does not earn your blessing. The blessing was already assigned to you. Obedience ensures you are capable of carrying it. It ensures that when health is restored, it remains consistent. When wealth increases, it remains ordered. When peace settles in, it remains unshaken. Obedience transforms blessing from a moment into a legacy. There will come a time when you look back and realize how much was happening while you were simply being faithful in small, quiet ways. You will see how silence protected you, how restraint strengthened you, how alignment guided you, and you will be grateful that you did not rush the process or seek validation too early. For now, remain steady. Do not grow impatient with discipline. Do not underestimate the power of consistency. You are not missing out on anything. You are being secured. What happens when you obey is this: your future becomes less fragile, more stable, and more enduring. And that is a gift few ever receive. You are not just receiving a blessing. You are being entrusted with it. Chosen one, this is where the message completes its circle, and where heaven settles your spirit with certainty instead of suspense. What you have just received was never meant to stir anxiety or create anticipation that feels restless. It was meant to anchor you, to calm you, to position you. Everything spoken to you was instruction wrapped in assurance, not prediction wrapped in pressure. And now, as this final part unfolds, the purpose is simple: to leave you steady, confident, and deeply at peace. January 25th was never about a dramatic announcement or a visible shift that others could point to. It was about a spiritual seal being placed quietly on your life, a seal that protects what is coming so it can remain. Many people desire breakthrough, but few desire the discipline required to keep it. You were shown the value of silence because your blessing was never meant to be temporary. What is arriving is designed to stay. You were warned because you were trusted. Heaven does not issue cautions to those who carry nothing of consequence. Instruction is given where responsibility is expected. And you responded. You listened instead of rushing. You absorbed instead of reacting. You chose understanding over excitement. That alone confirms your readiness more than any outward sign ever could. Now hear this clearly, and let it settle deep within you. Nothing meant for you will be lost through patience. Nothing assigned to you will disappear through obedience. Nothing prepared for you will be delayed by silence. Loss only occurs when divine order is ignored. And you did not ignore it. You aligned with it. That is why this ending is not uncertain. It is secure. Health is restoring because peace was restored first. Your body responds to safety, not urgency. Wealth is aligning because order was established before increase. Provision flows best where stewardship already exists. Nothing in your life is happening out of sequence. Heaven is precise, not rushed. What feels slow is often thorough. There may be moments ahead when calm feels unfamiliar, and your mind tries to search for something to fix. Resist that urge. Peace is not a warning sign. Peace is confirmation. Chaos is loud when resistance is present. Calm settles when alignment is active. If your spirit feels steady right now, that is evidence that things are working exactly as they should. You are entering a season where explanation will no longer be required, where your life begins to answer questions without you saying a word, where stability replaces survival, and gratitude replaces anxiety. This does not mean challenges will never appear again. It means challenges will no longer define your direction or shake your foundation. Remember this truth going forward. Silence was never about hiding your light. It was about protecting it while it grew strong enough to shine without being threatened. Strength was built quietly. Discernment was sharpened privately. Trust was established deeply. These are the things that allow blessings to last. You do not need to announce anything. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to rush revelation. When the time comes to speak, it will feel natural, not forced. When the time comes to be seen, it will not cost you peace. Until then, your calm obedience continues to secure what heaven has already approved. Let gratitude anchor you in the present. Let patience steady you for what is ahead. Let peace guide your decisions. These are not passive qualities. They are signs that you are aligned, protected, and prepared. And now receive this final assurance without hesitation. You are covered. What? Guarded. What has been assigned to your life is secure. What has begun will not reverse. What is coming will not overwhelm you. You were shaped for this season long before you recognized it. Type "I receive" and "I remain silent" in the comments if this message has settled your spirit. Blessing code 999 is now activated. Move forward calmly. Walk forward wisely. Rest deeply. Your blessing is safe, your timing is right, and your future is protected. As this message completes its work in your spirit, I am speaking to you by divine prompting. God is using this channel to reach souls who are still waiting for truth, healing, and direction, and your obedience helps that light continue to flow. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing seed into living ground where the word keeps moving without restriction. The Lord is saying to you personally, what you release in obedience, I will return in increase. This is not a suggestion. It is a moment of alignment and response. I declare that every giver is covered, remembered, and rewarded with divine provision and peace. Act now through the links in the description or the PayPal QR code on screen, and let your seeds speak in the spiritual realm long after this message ends.